Hello, everybody. And maybe if you're here, maybe you can type us and let us know and give us some of your wonderful whiz. Oh, cool, brilliant. So in a moment, maybe then you can come on and give us your opinion and give us your thoughts if you have any technical difficulties, and we can have a little chat with yourself as well. So actually, we've seen that we have Breffney here for a few moments. Maybe we'll start with Breffney.
I didn't mean to be in here at all. I'll leave. I'm one happy.
No. I'm just going to introduce you first, actually. I'm sorry, you're put on the spot now, because Breffney is a super cool guy who's traveled around the world. And Matt is trying to light up his face. Okay, I'll be careful. So Matt, I know Matt. He's all right. He's a bit strange, but he's okay.
We're all a bit strange. It's fine.
Yeah. So, okay, what I wanted to do today was, because I have a meetup group and I wanted to share as much valuable content as I possibly could in the next kind of hour and a half, 2 hours maximum. Obviously, you guys don't have to stay for all of it. But what I wanted to do was kind of do a virtual version of what I was going to do in an actual event, and which was to have a little talk primarily with Matt, and a little bit with Justin as well. And also I'd love Sam to come on for a few minutes. I know she might be a bit tight for time. And also Carol, who I see is just here. Sam, thank you, Sam, but she's also going to come on for a couple of minutes. I know she's tight for time, but I just want to give a little bit of content to some people that might be listening, because I have a lot of people from the meetup group who wanted to get some valuable content, and I wanted to share as much as I could with them. So seeing that we're honored to have Breffney here, who is an incredible guy who's cycled around the world. Yeah. Would you like to give us just 5 minutes, maybe a little brief intro on your story? And I'm sure people would love to hear it.
Okay, well, I'll try and do it in 2 because I don't want to hijack your thread. I only really just jumped in to make sure the technology was working for you. But yeah, I suppose, I know we met last week and we had a quick chat on here, but 5 years ago, I almost took my own life. I was in a very dark and my professional life and my self-esteem, and I decided mid-afternoon to take my own life, and within 2 hours I changed my mind. And I came up with a different plan that I was going to redesign my life and set myself a kind of a roadmap to a more pleasant and more enjoyable existence. Okay. So over the course of the next 13 months, I cycled. I got back on a bike. I learned to swim. I started running, got a new job, traveled, saved some money, and put away. Went on 50 blind dates, and because I set myself all of these challenges in that roadmap. A couple of years later, and I decided I wanted to try and do something a little bit special, but also show other people in a similar situation to what I had been in, that they could do pretty special things without having any experience of doing them. So I signed up for the World Cycle Race, 18,000 miles, 30,000 kilometers around the planet, and on a bicycle. And 7 people registered for the event. Only 4 actually started, and when push came to shove, only me managed to get around the entire planet. So I ended up winning the race about 6 or 7 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. Have you frozen for me?
And okay, not to feel okay.
So you froze. I lost you there for a moment.
I'm not sure where I lost it, but 6 weeks ago I finished the World Cycle Race as the winner, and just spreading the message that it's okay not to feel okay, and it's absolutely okay to ask for help. So that's really me. I'm happy to kind of take a back seat and sit back. If anyone has any questions and wants to fire them at me real quick, because we really don't want to hijack the Blab.
No, it's good, because you've been very supportive, and thanks for last night to listening into charity radio and stuff onto my show. But your story is incredible. And the moment that I heard your story, I was just blown away. So, and it does inspire people. So you are definitely in the right place to be here and to be telling your tale. Absolutely. So it's incredible. If anybody has any questions for Breffney, how he decided to pick himself back up and, after feeling so down and went around cycled the world. Yeah, let us know. You can see the comments down on the right. Yeah, it is an amazing story. He is incredible. That's right, Sam. And hi, Mary. And yeah, he's amazing. So yeah, I mean, what did it?
Sorry, I suppose I tried to get through it quickly, but yeah, no, at the start point, I was 20 stone, hadn't exercised in 5 years, and hadn't really done anything meaningful in terms of exercise in 10. I was 29 years of age, almost 30, and I hadn't done anything. I could barely climb up a flight of stairs to my desk in work.
Okay.
I'm just literally unhappy. I completely pulled myself out of every situation I was in terms of social engagement, even in terms of work. I only spoke to the people I absolutely had to speak to. Barely spoke to my completely not fit at all. Sorry, just to sound question, I totally wasn't fit at all.
Okay. Yeah, your internet, I think your internet is saying it's poor internet signal for you for some reason. Matt is leaving the screen again. But anyhow, if anybody has any questions for Breffney, he is an inspiration. Yeah. Hi, Simon. It's lovely to have you here. I really appreciate having you here. Yeah,
I'll be hanging around in the comments anyway. I'm going to jump out now, but I'll be hanging around in the comments.
Yeah, and sorry, go ahead, Breffney.
No, I'm going to jump out and let you get on with the Blab, but I was going to hang around in the comments. If anyone does have any questions, just ask Breffney early and I'll see what I can do about getting back to them with answers and stuff. But I'm going to listen. I'm looking forward to listening in.
Okay, and thank you, Breffney. And just before you go, just to let anybody know who's from Ireland, that you're going to be doing a gig, and I know that Tina Gates as well, who was on my show last night as well, is also going to be there, and that's going to be the do a dream dare do it.
Get up and go.
Get up and go.
The Get Up and Go conference.
In Sligo.
It's on the 17th of October in Sligo, and it's going to be an absolutely amazing day. And I think, looking at a sneaky look at the top of the page, I think Eileen is actually listening in. Welcome, Eileen, who is running the event. But it's going to be a fantastic day.
Come on, and maybe Eileen, you'd like to come on at some point. And hi, and let us know a little bit more about the conference, because yeah, I'm going. I'm going to go on a little road trip with Gillian, and yeah, definitely going to go and listen to Breffney and also to Tina Gates, who motivated me once again to go and kick off in the gym today.
I'm going to take advantage of being here, and I am giving away 2 free tickets to the event. I know Eileen might not thank me for this, but buy tickets. It's fantastic. It's going to be there, but I am giving away 2 free tickets. If people go to my Facebook page, which is Pedal the Planet, it's facebook.com/Pedal the Planet TV. I'll put the link down here, and people can go along to it. But do get tickets. If you're lucky enough to win the 2 free ones, brilliant. If not, get the tickets. It's well worth it. There's some fantastic speakers on the day, and it's a good day out, and it's a lovely part of the country. But I'm going to leave you now, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Okay, listen, thank you, Breffney, and listen in, and we might have some questions for you anyhow, okay? Thank you so much, Breffney.
Thank you, Breffney. Thanks.
Thank you, and obviously you can all connect with Breffney there, and he's still listening in, so if anybody has any questions, I've got Sam coming in. And I just wanted to say to Simon, thanks so much, Simon, for dropping by. You're Superman. Come back in an hour. We might still be here. I'd love to meet you and have a chat with you. So please come back in an hour's time. Okay, we'll talk to you very soon, Simon. And hi, Sam.
Hi.
Thanks for
Wasn't
coming.
that an amazing story from Breffney? Isn't it great to see so many people here on Blab that have such brilliant stories? I'm here to support you, Danielle, but you've plenty of people there supporting you. I don't think you need me at all.
No, I definitely need Samantha here with me. Yeah, Samantha's the tweeting goddess, if anybody doesn't know who she is. And she is probably one of my main inspirations for all of this, and she's the one that has got us all onto social media. No, it's true, and has inspired me tremendously. Since I've met her, I've learned about Twitter, I've learned about Facebook to a lesser extent. I've learned about networking. I've basically imitated, well, not copied her, but I've kind of, in a flattering way.
No, you don't copy me. No, there's a difference between copying and supporting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I hope I've supported Sam in every way I can as well. But also, like, I've learned a huge amount from her, and she is really, really incredible at social media and at networking and at connecting people. So I definitely recommend, if anybody's listening and is in business and wants to improve their business, definitely get in touch with Samantha Kelly. And also, even if you just want to learn how to be more motivated, inspired. I know her business isn't to be necessarily a coach. She's not doing what I do or maybe what Matt does, but she does do it. She doesn't do it just by
she does it.
Yeah, she does it.
Well, thank you. How much do I owe you now for that? I'll
she's
pay
a very
you later, all right?
So yeah,
thanks so much for the introduction. Hi guys. Hi Matt and hi Justin. I don't know you at all, but we will after this conversation. I'm just saying, I'm just looking at the comments, and I see Mary is there, I see Roy is there, I see Simon is there, and Carol and Breffney. Well done, Breffney. Put the link up there in the comment section. Get up and go. That's the conference, isn't it? Yeah, I didn't know about that. I must actually check that out.
Yeah,
feel free to tweet it to me. Yeah, and I'll retweet it.
I'll send it to you. I'm going down with Gillian, so maybe you can come down with us. We'll go on a road trip. But
I don't want to sit in the car with you all the way to Sligo. Are you mad?
Yeah, no, we'll probably be a bit too crazy. Actually, myself and Gillian are a bit too mad.
So since how we're talking about the health and wealth blab for I'll give my little tuppence worth, shall I? I suppose I'm not great health wise. I do smoke, but that's on my vision board. That's going to go soon, hopefully. But for me, sorry,
we can help you with that.
I know. I have to be ready. But for me, a lot of my life has changed because 7.5 years ago, I stopped drinking. I used to love it, absolutely love it. So I'm 7.5 years in recovery now. And a lot of people wouldn't know that part of my story, but it's not something I go around broadcasting, but it is a very, very, very important part of my story because I would not be here if I wasn't on some kind of program. So I'm on a program, which means that I do a good deed every day. I live by the slogans, which is day at a time, just for today, think. And a lot of those slogans have helped me to succeed in business. So, that's how it's worked for me. It is part of my story. It's in my book as well. So, if I hadn't got some kind of program, my head would be melted. And I wouldn't have been able to get through all of the challenges I've had to get through. And especially my dad. My dad passed away 4 years ago now. And I always said, you know what? If anything ever happened to my dad, I would just go on the lash. That's it, But you know what? I didn't. And to be able to get through something so painful without having to rely on something to get me through it was a huge, huge thing for me. And if it wasn't for the people in my circle and the people that I surround myself with, I wouldn't be here either, because it's like Breffney going off and doing that. Like, that's amazing. Like, and the likes of Tina Gates, I love her as well. I mean, these people are doing things it's inspiring us to get up and do stuff. If you can get up and, thank you, Gillian, if you can get up there and just do something that's out of your comfort zone, like, I still have challenges doing that, And what I was planning on talking about, Danielle, at your thing was, at your event was, how being in recovery has actually helped me, not hindered me. It's actually helped me to make proper connections, build proper relationships, surround myself with the right people, get rid of the negative people in my life, and just keep doing the right things as well. Like, when you hand out your hand to someone and reach out and help them, it was like Breffney was having technical difficulties the other day when he was his first blab. And I said, you know what? This guy needs help. And I didn't know Breffney at all. I'd seen him kind of on Twitter a little bit, but I knew the name, but I didn't know him at all. And I said, I'm going to jump in and help him because he couldn't get his mic to start. This little things like that. And Breffney will remember that, and I remember when someone helps me, and you always remember when someone's been kind to you. And all it is kindness. And if I hadn't got kindness and people that are like that in my life, I wouldn't be here, So there's my little speech now. It's true.
Yeah. No, it's so true. And I think for anybody who's just joined there, Samantha is the embodiment of what it means to surround yourself by a team and positive people, because you do that and you do attract those people to you, very much so. So if anybody is feeling down, is needing the support, get in touch with someone like Samantha, or anybody that you feel that is going to be positively inspire you or support you in your life, because it's necessary. Yeah, and she's done it for me. I would like to think in a small scale I might have done it for her, but that's what it's all about. It's about surrounding yourself by positive people. So Sam is the embodiment of that. Absolutely. So
don't get me wrong, I get my bad days as well. I had a crap day yesterday. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not perfect, and it is a struggle sometimes. But it's the best thing about it is that those negative side of my, like, the being in recovery, like, I wouldn't even think of a drink at all, and that's a miracle in itself. The fact that, like, that wouldn't even cross my mind. I have no interest in going to a pub. I have no interest in hanging out. I have no business there. Why would I go there? I have no business there unless I'm eating lunch or something. But even if I go to a wedding, I have my dinner, I have my dance, and then I go to bed. Yeah, I'm boring. I get my tea. I get tea served to me at midnight. Everyone else is getting drinks, and I'm like, tea, and the barman just looks at me. Are you Irish? Like, hello. But that's the way I live now, and you know what? It's a really nice way to live, and I have a good crowd, a good support network around me. I go to meetings 2-3 times a week, and that's what keeps me good. That keeps my head straight, and it's all in the head. When you're an entrepreneur, especially, and you're sitting at home and you're at home, and like Blab is helping me a lot, actually. It just by not being so isolated. What?
I said, you've gone crazy on Blab, haven't you?
I have staked my claim in Blab World, and I have a Blab later at 10 o'clock. So if anyone wants to join me, they can. They're very welcome. But this is your Blab, Danielle. So I just wanted to drop in and give my support, and I hope everyone will keep watching. Danielle has been very good to me, and she's got lots of knowledge to share, and she wants to genuinely help people, and she has a great show as well. So I'm going to go, and I'm going to leave you in peace and with your 21 viewers. And go on, let Justin have a say. I haven't heard anything from Justin or Matt, so I want to hear what they have to say as well.
Stay around maybe if you're going, and stay around and maybe.
Oh no, I'm going to stay. I'm going to leave it on the background, okay? Because I have the kids here as well, so you have to make sure she gets her pajamas on and stuff. All right.
Okay, so I'm going to call you back a little bit later. Thank you, Sam. Thank you. She's a great woman, so go and connect with everybody right now. So I'll actually introduce you to these two wonderful gentlemen that I have sitting in front of me here. We have Justin. I was going to call you Justin Trans, but he's another guy I know in Las Vegas. He's a hypnotist. But this is Justin Lawler, and he's a super guy. So maybe say hello, Justin.
Hey, how are you? Hi, Danielle. It's been great. It's a great talk so far. Really enjoyed it so far. It's really inspirational stories. So I suppose I can tell a little bit about myself.
Yeah, no, basically, I just nobody knows anybody. I have Matt Traverse, so I'm going to get Matt speaking as well in a moment. I know once he starts, he won't shut up, so he can wait. But Justin is a great guy who I know very well, and for people who are watching and listening in, there is a free spot if somebody wants to join in. Maybe Carol, if you can figure out how to join in. Maybe I'd love Carol Brill to come on. But Justin is a super guy who's made big changes in his life, and he's inspired me. I know him, and he knows me, and he's definitely been a great inspiration to me. So yeah, Justin, tell me a little bit about your inspiration.
Sorry, kind of breaking up.
Sorry, hi.
Hey, so I suppose a little bit about myself. I've been like 2 years ago. I was sorry. Yeah, it's really kind of breaking up here. It's a lot of feedback here.
Maybe it's me.
Not sure. Caroline, I'm going to Yeah, it's Carol. It's Carol. We'll get her back on. Yeah, she needs to go out. Thanks, Sam. Okay, so Justin, I can hear you now. So maybe talk and we'll get Carol back in a second.
Sure, yeah. Okay, so I suppose about 2 years ago, I was a very different place in my life. I can really relate to Breffney in a lot of ways. I was extremely introverted. I was in I suppose, in a very bad relationship at the time. I had just got out of that really bad relationship. I was in work. I was working crazy hours and not really achieving anything. I suppose I didn't really talk to anyone. In work socialized. I did socialize externally. And I suppose just at that time, I moved back to Ireland. I was working overseas, and I moved back to Ireland, and I suppose I used that as an opportunity to essentially just completely change my life and the direction in my life. And so I was overweight at the time. I changed diets. I basically made a decision to leave my job within 6 months, and I did. And ever since then, basically everything's been going up. I met yourself, Danielle, about a little over a year ago at one of your meetup talks with Brian Halpin, and you were a total inspiration for me at the time. And still are, of course. But it's like getting these inspirational people into my life, and really pushing the comfort zones every single day, socially, starting up new habits, you're dropping old destructive habits, like, pushing on a day-to-day basis, getting accountability as well in my life, and doing that for the last year and a half has really completely changed everything. I'd be going out all the time. I know so many people now, which, maybe a year and a half ago, the amount of people I knew in Dublin was, I could count in one hand. Pushing the comfort zones every day, whether it's like something small, like talking to the barista in the morning, just starting up a conversation, just that little bit. And doing that every single day has really completely changed my life. And so getting rid of, I think it's been said before, but removing the toxic, the negative people from my life as well. Changing my diet, having a much cleaner, more healthy diet, everything like this. Those little 1%, on a day-to-day basis has really, compounded and really got to me where I am today. And, hopefully the future is bright, onwards and upwards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, the change in the last year since I've known you is amazing. It's incredible. A year ago, you were a totally different person from what you are today. So for people that are listening in, and maybe anybody who's come from the meetup group, if you have any questions for Justin or anybody here or myself, whatever, please ask. You can you can type it in the comments there and let us know anything you'd like to discuss if you're going through anything at the moment, because this is what it's about. It's about health and wealth for your mind and your mindset primarily. So it's about how to change your mind so that you can have a better life, and be more positive, be more uplifted, be more motivated, and have the courage to go forward and overcome things, right? And Justin did. He really, really did. He went through big changes in his life, which, we hear all these incredible stories about people facing death and all the rest. But, sometimes something so normal as breaking up from your partner can be a major upheaval in your lives, right? And that can be, it's subjective. How you feel for one situation is subjective to everybody. So whatever you're going through right now, be aware that, okay, that's okay to feel like that, but maybe is it wise to stay feeling like that, and what can you do to change it? So Justin, what did you do in your head to change it?
It's all about changing negative beliefs and stopping the stories that I was telling myself. I can't do this. It's impossible. Who'd be interested in talking to me, for instance? Who'd be interested, to hear what I had to say? And it's those negative beliefs. And actually, we're all on very similar. We all have our own fears, every single one of us. And it's just realizing that, really seeing that in everyone else, and empathizing with that, relating what you are feeling, what I'm feeling internally, with what everybody else is feeling, and seeing that, opening my mind, coming from a very inward focusing to an outward focusing person, changed everything, really.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think what you're saying there is very true about telling stories, and it's all about telling stories in your head, right? Absolutely. So you can tell a good story, or you can tell a bad story. For you to feel any emotion, you've told a story. So you changed your stories. You were more aware. You became more aware, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. of these negative self-beliefs, these really destructive stories I was telling myself, I can't do my job. I can't, I have to work 70 hours a week just to actually get acceptance in my job, for instance. It was a story that I was telling myself constantly. And just kind of removing those stories and working with yourself, Danielle, over the last year. Another story I can't change. I for all my life, I really believe that I cannot change. I am who I am, and there's no way I could be anybody different. And just even dropping that was probably the biggest change.
Yeah, incredible. Yeah, absolutely. And that's really good. And what I'm going to do is thank you, Justin. I'm going to come back to you in a minute, if that's okay, if you stay there, because I know Gillian is coming and going, but she's got hiding in the back room of a book club. I'm just being very naughty as usual.
I'm jumping in for 2 seconds. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Very noisy. I was listening to you there, Justin, and I love the fact that you were saying you were changing your story. We're going from I can't to I can, and things that make you happy. And I'm a writer, so my little piece that I want to say, and then I'll dip away into the night again, is that I'm at a friend's book launch tonight. Actually, it's wonderful. You can see it there. Oh, sorry. It's Louise Phillips' The Game Changer, and we're in the Gutter Bookshop in town, in Temple Bar.
I love that name, the Gutter Bookshop.
Well, it's from Oscar Wilde. You may lie in the gutter but we look up at the stars. That's a Wilde quote. But what I find really interesting, so I was doing some television here tonight too as well. They were interviewing Irish authors, and I have quite a difficult backstory, as in the banks took my home, I became bankrupt, my business collapsed, I got divorced, tick all those boxes, whatever. And he was interviewing me about some of my writing and stuff like that, and he said, "Why are you so jolly?" And you know what it is, and this is where I come back to you, Justin. The thing that I find that makes me happy is writing. I love writing, and that's my happy place. And whether I'm writing an article for The Independent, whether I'm writing my erotica, or whether I'm writing, sensible stuff, I just love. I can write an email, and if it's I can write a tweet, and if I like that tweet, I get so excited. So I think just to add, my tuppence worth to add in before I disappear, talking to the noisy throngs out there again, is just to say, if you can find something that you love, and be it a sport, be it a hobby, be it swimming, be it walking, whatever it is. I actually sing and walk and those things too as well. But writing makes me very, very happy. Even filling in forms, That's one word after the other. So that's my little happiness thing.
I love that, Gillian. You're a star. Absolutely, Gillian. So are you going back to the book launch now?
I am going back. Well, then I'm going home too as well. I've been away for a few nights, back to my Wicklow. But I see there's a queue of people dying to jump in. So I will let them on. Say hello to Matt too as well. So I wasn't ignoring you, just that I only heard Justin there. And Danielle I love too as well. Yeah. So I'll say good night. If you're going to buy a book, buy Louise Phillips' The Game Changer. And then buy my book, Gillian Gotzel. But be happy. Be happy.
Be happy, Gillian. I love that. Thank you for stopping by, Gillian. And I'll see you in the next couple of days.
What have I done? What do you call it? You have to whatever the expression is. I'm going to run out again. Be a terrorist.
Okay, bye, Gillian. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye. And good luck, Justin.
Bye. So, Matt, you're on audio now. For some reason, you've got poor internet. So maybe go out and come back in. Close it and come back in. And I'm going to let Carolyn. So maybe Matt will come back. Hi. The sound is much better. I think Sam helped us. So she said something there.
She said about getting headphones, and I had to borrow Sarah's One Direction headphones. So in case you think I'm mad into pink, but these are the only earphones in the house, so I need to go and buy some to look good on Blab. But thank you so much for having me on my first ever Blab. So I feel like a baby. So
you're brilliant. So listen, I have this. I don't know who this guy. Who's Christian? I'm not sure who you are. But I'm just waiting for Matt to come back in. Maybe we'll get you back in later on, Christian. Okay. So I have Matt coming in here now. But so great to have you here, Carol. We're going to hear from Carol in a moment because Carol is a complete and utter inspiration. Justin, Carol. Carol, Justin. Matt, I don't know if you've met the wonderful Carol Brill yet.
Hi, Matt. You're all in the dark.
So. Hi, Carol.
Hi. Can you maybe light up your face a little bit, because I'm struggling to see you.
Come a bit closer to the camera, Matt. Show your face.
I'm going to bring it closer.
I'm going to actually, so just let Matt speak for a little bit, because he's been very patient though, sitting quietly. And Matt is an incredible guy. He's a wonderful international coach. And I had him on my radio show there a couple of weeks ago, and we're planning to do an event together very shortly as well. So maybe, Matt, would you like to tell a little bit for our listeners about how to improve their mindset? Yeah, and maybe how to improve their health for mind, body, and soul.
Sure. Yeah, with pleasure. Well, let's give it a little bit of a sense of balance as well, and in order to not just succeed in mastering your mind, which is also mastering your outer world, your outside world, but doing it happily as well, not at the expense of one's happiness, and doing it in a sustained way and also in a healthy way. And of course, every time we're talking about change, becoming successful, it always starts with passion, a drive, a desire, deep, intense, burning desire is always the starting place. Otherwise, you're not going to have the energy to break through all those barriers, the enemies, the limitations, which are always within. And those are the real ones. Even though people tell themselves story after story that it's the outside world that's stopping them or holding them back, but it's always within. So first you have this burning desire. You want to really become a master of your life, which is always the first and the most important achievement or success or conquest for a person. The greatest triumph is for a man or woman to conquer themselves. And of course, once you do that, you also have the possibility of mastering the other areas of the outside world, and so achieving success in the material world, tangible, real results.
Yeah.
So once you got this passion driving you to take action, to jump out of bed early in the morning and stay up late at night, and whatever you do during the day is not work. People say you're working, you tell people that you're working, but for you, it's play. And almost magically, you don't get tired. Even you work 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 hours a day. But for you, it's not tiring. You don't feel fatigued. You don't feel exhausted, even though, it can be exhaustive, but you are energized. That's the magic of finding and pursuing what you love to do. And also, like they say, if you follow your heart, if you follow what you love, the money will follow. Well, not necessarily, but of course, that's the right strategy. That's the right road to follow. But then you also have to have a plan of action to monetize your passion and turning your passion into profit. If you're also interested in becoming financially independent or even financially free, not that you need to be wealthy in order to be happy and fulfilled. These days, it's good. Why not? You can actually do more good in the world. You can give more to your charities and so forth. So why not when there is so much abundance in the world? So first is you have this passion, and then you start the way you master your mind. You become aware of the process of thinking, which basically is the process of asking and answering questions. Once again, the vast majority of human thought and human thinking is about asking and answering questions, directing the focus, our golden attention on something, contemplating whatever it is that we're thinking about. And before we start thinking about something, we ask ourselves, what am I going to think of? What do I like? What do I want to spend my time on? What do I want to direct my energies on, because you can switch on the TV, for example, or you can think about going to McDonald's and buy a burger and French fries and a soda, for example. You know, maybe that's not going to help you achieve great mastery, but you actually catch yourself and you say, okay, this time I'm going to contemplate something that is very important for you. It could be meditation, it could be relationships, it could be starting your own business, it could be health and vitality, how you're going to exercise. So because when you contemplate and focus and study something, you start to carve out neural pathways in your brain. And then with practice, with consistency, with discipline, and thinking that way, these neural pathways will become highways. That's when you have a habit. And that's when the thing is not effortful anymore. Initially, it took discipline, it took effort, it was even a struggle. You had to endure hardship or difficulties in order to condition and program and train yourself. But once you've done it, it becomes a habit. That's it. Bingo. It's easy. It's easy to do the stuff that initially was hard. It's now become easy. Why? Because everything that we are used to doing, that we are habituated into doing it, then it becomes easy. That's what, you know, what's the easiest thing for human beings to do? What they keep doing and what they've done in the past. And then, of course, you have to also be bold and courageous in going into uncharted territories, meaning you want to expand your boundaries, pushing the envelope, raising the bar, raising your standards. That's how you gain more of anything that you want in life. It's the highest value that you have to exercise at the highest testing point. I don't care what it is, whatever you want to take to the next level. If it's responsibility, for example, you exercise more courage. Yes or yes. If you want more love, are you going to have to be more vulnerable and courageous? For sure. If you want more fun, if you want more anything that you want more of, which is a set of powerful emotions, you always have to exercise courage. And that's what the one thing that people don't want to do. And they cave in their own little egg, in their own little comfort zone. Why? Because immediately, operationally, it is easier, but it's costing them their dreams, their passions, their fulfillment, their true satisfaction, their happiness in life, and their wealth, and their joy, and their truest. In fact, I actually have a saying that I say all the time: your greatest passions reside in the realm of uncertainty, of the unknown, of what you don't know. And that's the area where people don't want to go, but that's where your greatest results, greatest successes reside, are waiting for you outside the comfort zone. So you need courage. And then, you know, to close it up, to close this process, of course, we can fit in many things about mind mastery, of course, but I'm just giving, you know, the general organizing principle.
Losing you a little bit. Is that you? I think that's you, Matt. You're freezing a little bit. Is he freezing?
No.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
Matt, I'm going to put you out and maybe come back in a minute. Sorry, because I think your Wi-Fi come back out. And just before you're getting back, get up and go. Do you want to come on for a moment and talk a little bit about Sligo? I can't remember your first name. Get up and go. I can't remember your name. But in the meantime, okay, bye, Sam. Thanks for your help. Thanks for all your support and your help, Sam. So make sure everybody gets in touch with Sam. In the meantime, maybe we'll talk to Carol a little bit. So hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. So, okay, so you're the true inspiration for everybody. So maybe, yeah, I know you've told me your story so many times. I know your story, but for anybody that doesn't know, you could tell a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, listen, thanks a million for having me on for my first Blab. I have a condition called Usher syndrome, which is a rare genetic disease, and that causes hearing and sight loss. So I wear hearing aids, and my hearing is described as moderate to severe. I tend to lip read a bit too. And this is why I love Blab, because I can actually lip read in case I'm struggling to hear or understand somebody, I'm lip reading as well. So it's been, I love this Blab.
Oh, that's great.
In terms of the sight loss, I have what you can describe as keyhole vision. Everybody can see 180 degrees. I only see about 5 degrees. So if I'm looking at you from across the table, Danielle, I can only probably just see you one eye, and I would have to scan your face and build up a picture mentally to see, your whole face, so to speak. So that's a little bit about the Usher syndrome. How I came to meet you, Danielle, would that help? We met through Irish Biz Party. I set up a Twitter account and I haven't looked back, and that's only this time last year.
Oh my God, it was only a year ago.
So there's been, it's unreal. It's just been unreal. I knew, today is the 8th of September. I think we'd only just met, actually, just a year ago. So if I'd known then what I know now, what was going to happen in the last year, it's just been an amazing year. And it's just something, Matt there just actually explained something which makes a whole load of sense to me. He talked about getting out of your comfort zone. And that's what I did. I got out of my comfort zone last year. And because I am very passionate about creating awareness about Usher syndrome, about deafblindness. And that is what keeps me going. From the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep, everything is all about my passions. And when I wake up in the middle of the night, again, I'm on the ball, social media, Twitter and Facebook, networking with people. It's just, it's what drives me. And people say, oh, I don't know how you get the energy. I don't know now, but thanks to Matt, I do understand now where my energy comes from.
You've moved.
I've been offline for about 10 minutes. I apologize. I don't know what happened.
It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. We're hearing Carol's story at the moment. So I don't know what happened to you. You disappeared. But Carol was just explaining that you explained something to her there.
Did you feel your ears burning, Matt?
You were talking about something connected to what I was saying. Yeah. All right.
Yes. It's helped to make a lot of sense because, I am on the go nonstop. I can't tell you the last time I actually sat down to watch TV because I am just always on the go, following my passions. And now I know where the energy comes from. So thank you for that.
Carol, tell us, Carol, some of your passions, because tell us where you're going in a few weeks.
Oh God, where do I start? Okay, well, first of all, I suppose the most important thing, the connection between you two is Italy, and I'm actually heading to play as the first ever Irish woman to play in the Italian Blind Open Golf Championship. I'm not even, I only started playing golf last February, and here I am representing Ireland, a huge honour, playing in this in, I think it's Berlanissimo, I can't say it, you can correct me, just outside Milan. So I am so looking forward to it. It's about 3 weeks away.
Wow, yeah, and so if anybody's just joined in, obviously Carol has Usher syndrome, but she is so much more than just obviously having that illness. She is a true inspiration and inspires me every day. And we met and she came to an event of mine and then ended up inspiring me, I think, more. But absolutely,
we got mutual benefits.
So tell us some other incredible stuff that you're doing.
Well, I mean, the beginning of the year, this time last year, I was, the whole point of joining Irish Biz Party, which is how I came to meet you, Danielle. I joined Irish Biz Party because I had this thing that I was going to attend 2 scientific research conferences in America, just in the summer gone. And I was also going to do the second phase of my participation in a research study in Washington in the National Eye Institute to help researchers understand the progression of my disease. So all of that needed to be taken care of. And also my daughter, her birthday is in July, and I give her birthday wishes. I don't give her presents. I give her wishes. And last year she wanted to dip her toe in a lake. We went to the beautiful Killarney lakes down in the southwest of Ireland, and she dipped her toe in the lakes. And then it was a really precious, wonderful visual memory, and something that will always stay with me. And her wish for her 8th birthday this year was to wear an Elsa dress. Now everyone I'm sure knows Elsa from the movie Frozen. So while I knew I was going to be heading to America to these 2 conferences and also the research study, I just thought, well, you know, why don't we just pop into Disney and celebrate her birthday? So pricing it all up was quite expensive. And I just thought, okay, I better set up a business. I didn't know what I was going to do, what kind of business. And I set up the business. You know, what I needed to do to set up a business, I needed to research, because I hadn't got a clue how to run a business. I hadn't a clue what I was going to sell. I just did not know what I was going to do. So I hooked into the Irish Biz Party, and Samantha Kelly taught me how to use Twitter. And it was amazing, the connections that I made of people who have now become my very close friends, including yourself, Danielle. And you know, it has been an amazing year in that the people that came together, that actually what was going to be a business turned out to be a fundraising venture called Seeing Disney. So there was many events during the first part of this year, and it all culminated in a 5-week trip over to the States, and an amazing trip, wonderful, precious memories to be had, that will stay with me for the rest of my life, in my darker days, so to speak. So what have I done since? Because like I was worrying before I went away to America that when America was over, it was going to be one big anticlimax, and I was going to be redundant in the sense of what am I going to do next? But actually, just before I went away to America, my how would you say, all-consuming passion right now is to have deaf blindness recognised in Ireland as a unique disability. The Irish government haven't recognised it. And while they have recognised deafness and they have recognised blindness, no government policies, legislation or strategy recognise deaf blindness. And so I made a very impassioned presentation to the government committee for health and children. And sadly, no response whatsoever. That was back in May. And so I've kind of rejuvenated the campaign to have deaf blindness recognised. And that's what I'm currently working on at the moment. In between training at the golf range every day. Like today was hilarious. I was in for a meeting at 9 o'clock in the city centre, back out to the south side to Leopardstown, did some golfing, and then back into the city centre for another meeting, all to do with deaf blindness. And here I am sitting here chatting with you.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's incredible. And okay, I mean, you're doing so much. And I mean, I know how busy you are, and I know all the stuff that you're doing. And if anybody wants to support and should definitely support Carol Brill, where can they go to link? Basically, what they can do is they can do the following, right? They can post.
Yes, they can follow me. And there's plenty of tweets there.
Yeah, I'm sure if there's anything
that are that will show the Facebook link. Now, if you go into Facebook and just put up, I have my little tag here. I don't know if you can see it all. It's I'm not invisible, and I am no grammar in between because it's a hashtag. But if you go I'm not invisible campaign on the Facebook, you should be able to find the page. If not, just tweet me.
Exactly.
I'll refer you to the page. But what I'm doing now at the moment is this big campaign. It's I'm not invisible, and the reason why I came up with that hashtag is because I was on my way. Where was I? I was actually on my way to a radio interview to try and highlight, what I was going to do when I was speaking before the Government Health Committee back in May. And I was listening to the song I'm Not Invisible by U2. And the words just absolutely, I mean, I'd listened to this song quite a few times, but just that particular morning, the words of that song absolutely impacted me. And I just thought, yeah, I'm not invisible. Current policies in our Irish government, have made deafblindness slip through the net. We have strategies for blindness and we have strategies for deafness, but there's nothing to include deafblind people. The national census, I cannot tick my disability as deafblind. I have to tick either deafness or blindness. And the same, there's a database called the National Physical and Sensory Disability Database. Again, I cannot tick disability. And I just thought, I'm being made invisible by these policies. And so I'm refusing to become invisible. So this is the whole reason behind the campaign. Mm-hmm. And so at the moment, I'm just campaigning to have deafblindness recognised as a unique disability.
Yes. So anybody that is watching or when they watch the replays of this can simply go and follow you at Carol Brill on Twitter and also do a selfie with I'm Not Invisible, with hashtag I'm Not Invisible, and put it up there, and so that we can help raise awareness for this wonderful cause.
Now, I'm kind of aware that I shouldn't be talking about my campaign because this is, a health topic. Okay. Well, so it's I would like to give my pound's worth or euros worth in terms of motivation.
Well, it's health for the mind. So, I mean, anything that will help you and help anybody that is going through any kind of difficult circumstances, of course, is a good cause. So it's all good. It's all good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did you say that you did golfing today?
Sorry, say that again.
Did you say you did golfing today?
Yeah.
Golfing?
Golf.
Golf. You played golf?
Yes.
Today. You also found the time to play golf today?
Yes.
She's an amazing lady. Yeah, she's a very amazing lady.
Wow.
So, and I was water skiing 2 weeks ago.
She was water skiing. Yeah.
Yes.
She has a habit of jumping out of planes as well.
Yes, I've done parachute jumping. I was trekking in the Himalayas. I've done some amazing things. And as you say, it's about getting out of your comfort zone and realizing that there are no limits to your abilities. It's about, there's always I always have this element of doubt. Oh God, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm going to fail or whatever. But you know what? Just get on and do with it. Do it, and at least you tried. And there's no failure if it doesn't work out in the end. It's not failure because the absolute positive is you tried it.
So, Carol, for people listening in,
huge inspiration, Carol. You're such a great inspiration. Thank you so much. With all my
thank you. I look forward to tweeting with you on a regular basis.
So. Matt just joined Twitter there. I got him onto Twitter before Charity Radio. Before I interviewed him on Charity Radio, I made him set up a Twitter account. So Sam will be very proud of me.
and Matt, really, you should consider doing a Twitter course because it's absolutely the way forward. It really is, and I have a lot to thank to Sam for helping me. She's just made my world a huge place. It's funny, actually. I'll just tell you a wonderful story. Just through Twitter, I tweeted about my latest blog, which I wrote for the Usher Coalition, an American organization. And this couple from Pennsylvania are actually in Ireland at the moment. They got in contact with me. I met with them last Saturday, and we just hit it off. It was really fantastic. And they're actually coming back. They're down in Cork at the moment, and they're coming back to stay with me this weekend. And I so can't wait to see them. And it's amazing what one tweet can do. Just incredible. It makes the world a much smaller place. It takes away the isolation, because I tell you, something about Usher syndrome is when you become visually and hearing impaired, you tend to kind of stay at home in your comfort zone. And then I get out of the comfort zone by heading off to water skiing and doing surreal things rather than going to the local shopping centre. I find that terrifying, the shopping centre, because you have people coming from all over directions, the crisscross, and people are busy, running after children, pushing prams and all that kind of thing. So I find that more of a challenge than I do water skiing or parachute jumping. And but
So, Carol,
Twitter and Facebook has really opened up my world. It really has. It's just the friendships I've made through social media has been amazing. Yes, sorry.
So, Carol, how is it you know
Gary
so much about Usher syndrome?
He's a great doctor.
Sorry, there's two people speaking at once. Maybe just
Gary.
Yes.
sorry, Gary, go ahead.
So, Carol, I was sort of fascinated by your thing on your profile about Usher syndrome. Who has Usher syndrome that you know so much about it?
Me.
Oh.
There's more to me than meets the eye.
And the ear.
And she still golfs and jumps out of planes and water skis and all the rest.
Yeah, what the hell, why not? It's interesting because
Exactly. Why not?
I'm retired from a long career as an ophthalmologist, so I know a lot about Usher syndrome because I was the consultant at the California School for the Deaf. I did a lot of screening for Usher syndrome. I've given several talks, but that's fascinating.
Right.
So you look like you're doing pretty well.
I hope you follow me.
I will.
I'm going to try and follow you. I'm going to follow you now. But I would love it if we can, if you can help the I'm Not Invisible campaign along. It'd be lovely. But we're having so much global support. It's unreal for this campaign. It's people from America, people from the Netherlands. It's fantastic. It really is. And I'd love to have you join the campaign too.
I'd love to. A lot of people are working on the genetics for it and possibly a cure or a way to treat it.
There is no treatment. There's no cure at the moment, but there's a lot of research. No, not yet, but there's a lot of positive news happening. But the FDA in the US of A are helping things along through proper, scrutinizing of a lot of clinical trials, and we're slowly getting towards human clinical trial stage, and it's just been amazing. And I would like to think that at some point in the next 10 years of my life, I'll be able to participate in a trial in America. I really believe the cure is in America because so much has happened there.
Now, where are you in the UK? You sound like you might be Irish.
I am Irish. I'm in Dublin.
We're in Ireland.
Blimey.
We are in Ireland.
Well, anyway, it was fascinating that I saw that, and I wanted to just drop in here. And there probably aren't a lot of people who know what Usher syndrome is.
Well, they're learning. They're learning fast now because of campaigns. So that's serendipitous that you two connected there, and it's great.
Yes, absolutely. Right. And Matt, don't forget to join the campaign too, please.
Okay. Well, as you know, Usher syndrome starts with retinitis pigmentosa. It's important that the kids that have are who are eventually going to go deaf as well. So it's important to know ahead of time what kind of vocation they're trained to do.
Well, I mean, I was at a conference that I just the two conferences that I mentioned that I attended in America, I ended up speaking at them. One of the conferences, there was a researcher there. She was amazing. She's actually managed to reverse blindness and deafness in mice within 5 days of treatment. Now, it's a lot of years away before it gets to human clinical trials. But you know what? The fact that it's happening now is amazing. It is amazing. Forward.
What conference were you at? What conference was this?
It was the Usher Coalition conference in, I'm going to have to say this like an American, New Orleans, in Louisiana. And the other conference that I was at was the Visions Conference, which is run by the Foundation Fighting Blindness in Baltimore. And again, another brilliant conference. So I was very, very privileged to speak at both conferences and kind of bring the lilt of the Irish accent to the American land.
Well, I spoke at a conference 30 years ago, 25 years ago. It's a long time ago. And I don't know if there's been much progress in treating it or diagnosing it, except for symptoms and measuring things with the eye. But I won't keep you. That's great. I'll look for you on Twitter and follow me too.
I look forward to hearing from you.
We'll hook up again.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming on. And
yes,
great
Danielle, thank you. Matt, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ignore you.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm delighted you met Carol. Okay, thanks for coming on, Gary. Thank you. Stay there anyway. But so anybody else wants to join in? Would you like to join in, Spider-Man? Or can you join in, Spider-Man? Sean? I don't think he can. I think he's having a problem. But maybe if not, he might like to come back on. But or Justin is free to come back on if you like. But okay. So when we're talking about health for the mind, body, and soul, I'm just going to go back to Carol a little bit for a second.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you like a personal question, if that's okay. How do you, on a daily basis, get by and keep so positive? What do you do to keep positive and in a good mental state?
Well,
with everything that you're going through.
Like Sam said earlier, we have down days. Okay, there are days I absolutely struggle to get out of bed, and then I only have to see a message or a phone call from somebody that inspires me. For example, like yesterday, there was a post on Facebook where somebody talked about what I had done for them, that they felt so alone and that I actually helped them. And that's just that kind of feedback. It's not praise or anything, but that feedback saying that I'm helping other people is what drives me. And I'm a person that has a rule in the sense that it is okay not to be okay, but I add on this little extra bit and say, but only for a little while. Mm-hmm. If I'm having a down day, I'll say, okay, I'll give myself to lunchtime, or if I feel like it, I'll give myself the whole day. Yesterday, I really didn't feel great yesterday, and that's being honest. But I tell you what, by last night, I was buzzing. And that was because I woke up yesterday morning thinking, how am I going to do this I'm Not Invisible campaign? All right. Mm-hmm. I enlisted the help of 4 great girls. And within 24 hours, we had 500 likes. And that's, when you surround yourself with such positive people, that is a huge, positive factor in my life, in my daily life, is I keep looking to the positive people around me, and I want to, make a difference to their lives, just as they make a difference to my life. And and Danielle, you made such a huge difference to my life, and that's why I always have the time of day for you. No matter how bad I feel or whatever, I'm there for you, and you know that. And whenever I'm in town, I try to see if you're in for a hug. I like to pop in for my hug. But surrounding yourself with positive people, allow yourself to feel down, allow yourself to, and just say, yeah, I'm okay. I'm having a bad day. That's perfectly okay, but I'm not going to let it take over. And, as Matt says, finding your passion, getting out of your comfort zone. I have to say, this time last year, I would never have dreamed about telling anybody about my Usher syndrome. And it was actually when I was at your workshop.
I remember.
And I felt like it was a coming out. I was telling everybody I have this Usher syndrome. Mm-hmm. And I just, I found it... Mm-hmm. I found it very daunting on my way to the venue for the workshop. And when I said it in the room with everybody, it was easy. It was actually easy. It's amazing what the mind can do. It can create all these little obstacles. But you know what? Stop thinking. Just do it. And now another thing which I do as well is every day I just say, okay, I'm going to do this. I might know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. And if I find I'm not able to do it by myself, I stopped being afraid of asking people for help. Now I have no problem asking for help from people. It's fine. It's not personal. It's because they have something else going on. And I used to be afraid of troubling people. That's the way I always said, oh no, I don't want to trouble people. But you know what? There's so many people, especially the positive people in your life, they're only willing to help you just as much as you're willing to help them. And that's you know, the few ingredients of my life: positive people, allowing yourself to feel down, but only for a little while, finding your passions, and you know, just forget about how you're going to do it, but just know that you can do it, even if you have to ask people for help, and don't be afraid to ask people for help. Another thing is, don't be afraid to tell people you're feeling down as well. That's very, very important. Mm-hmm. That's absolutely important, for me anyway.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. And I think one of the things that you were saying there about stop listening to your stories is really pertinent, because for you to feel any emotion, you're telling a story, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah, I mean, we do sabotage ourselves, you know, like, I mean, I don't know how it is worldwide, but in Ireland, like, people say, oh, your hair is lovely, and we say, oh no, I hate it, you know, and like, we have this sort of inner saboteur, and you know what, we really need to kind of just say, all right, thank you, you know, and say, yeah, my hair looks cool today, you know, and just try and start believing it, and stop letting your mind, you know, stop you from being critical of yourself. You have to stop being self-critical. Very hard to do. It is hard to do, but once you start getting into the, you know, I've only just taken up mindfulness meditation as well, and it's just taught me to kind of just stop, count to 10, don't react, and just kind of think, okay, what other way can you look at this? Mm-hmm. Let's have a look for another perspective, instead of just taking the one. You know, I may have tunnel vision, but I'm not going to have tunnel vision mentally. I just say, okay, there's got to be another view of this. And this is another thing as well. Instead of looking at the problem, look for the solution. That's the way I've always been as well. And that's down to my great dad. My dad was a wonderful man, a wonderful rock in my life, and I miss him dearly. But he taught me so much. And I think, you know, I would like to think that I'm, you know, some chip off his shoulder, in the sense of, like, he would say, you look at the solution rather than the problem. And then the other one that he always said, don't waste a day if you don't laugh. You know, laughter is important. You must laugh. I mean, it's better than crying.
Absolutely, it's much better than crying. And I think what you're saying there about it being difficult, I don't know if I totally agree with that. I think once you have there's interference, I have interference somewhere. Once you have a level of awareness, once you become aware that you're conscious, you know, you're aware of your thoughts.
Exactly.
Then I think it's hard to switch that off.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, that kind of just branches out into another little area, is that, you know, we also have this kind of tendency to blame other people. Oh, he made me really angry. Well, actually, no. It's down to choice. You choose your reaction, and that's why I say you just take 10 seconds, have a look at a different perspective, and just, you know, your reaction is what determines the outcome. And you know, that's very, very simple. Like, you could get annoyed with the waiter who's rude to you, but I always just say, you know, well, maybe she's having a bad day, and then I will always, in my way, this is how I am. Like, you know, if the waiter is really rude to me, I'll just say, that's a beautiful bracelet you're wearing. Isn't that just, it's just, you know, make them a compliment, and then they automatically change, and they feel, I mean, I obviously haven't made them grumpy, but they've taken it out on everybody and in their job, but just to make something to feel that they're valid, that they exist. Just a simple comment.
That's a really very good point. And what I have Matt saying, some people are more impulsive than others. So I think, again, like, if you relate it to what Carol is saying, and just learn to pause for a minute. You know, we can call it mindfulness, you can call it smart thinking, you can call it NLP, you can call it whatever, it doesn't matter what you call it. But just pause for a moment before you actually, because what you're saying is you have a choice. We always have a choice. We always have, between every thought, between every action, between every stimulus, between every response. Matt knows this, we all know this.
Yeah.
You have a choice of how you can react. So
exactly
for a moment.
Yes.
And as Carol says, I mean, I say this to a lot of people who, for example, maybe have a fear of confrontation, a fear of speaking to somebody, a fear of public speaking, or whatever it may be. But if your focus is on the other person all the time, rather than thinking about yourself, it's very difficult to feel bad. It's very difficult to be feeling bad because you're not thinking about yourself. And sometimes people say to me, oh, but if I think about them, I'm thinking what they're thinking about me. That's a reflection.
Yeah.
But if you're thinking about of them as a human being and how you can actually, if you can really try not to understand them, you're trying to be aware, you're trying to be consciously aware. And consciousness is just a quality of awareness, a deep level of awareness. So you're watching that person and trying to relate to them as a human being and trying to look at them and figure out, okay, what's going on in this person's head? How can I best serve them? How can I best help them? If they're having a bad day, I mean, obviously you don't want to be abused or taken advantage of course. But if they're having a bad day and they respond in a way that maybe you don't like, stop and pause for a moment and think, okay, what's going on in their head? Because, for example, I had a girl who came to me once and she was saying, oh, I can't get on her. She just started this job and she hated her boss, right? And she said, oh, her boss is so mean to me. She doesn't like me. She doesn't like me. I know she hates me, right? And I said to her, okay, just for one day, and then you can leave after that. Go in and just be really, really nice. And ask her how she is. And don't just ask her like the way Irish people say, how's it going? Because my dad always says, why do they ask, how's it going? And then they don't wait for the response. Don't ask how's it going like a greeting. Really ask her like she's a human being and wait for the response. Okay? You know what happened? The woman started crying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And her boss started crying, said nobody's actually really cared. And she ended up finding out the reason why she'd been so obnoxious to her was because she had a really bad back. Now that might not be a excuse, but it was a reason for it. And the other girl who thought it was just because she didn't like her. So it's all about our perception. And like Carol was saying, the story that we tell ourselves, if we change the story and open our minds to the possibility of there being a better story, our whole life can change. So
yeah. And can I just give you, something? My daughter Sarah, she inspires me quite a lot, and one thing which I've mentioned about, and you already know, Danielle, is rain. When it rains, we all go, oh, it's a miserable day, it's horrible out there, and we just get so put off by going out in the rain. Well, Sarah used to get so excited, pull out her little pink umbrella and her wellies and her raincoat and get so excited. Oh, Mommy, I want to go out into the rain. And all she wanted to do is go into the back garden and dance in the rain. And you know what? It taught me so much, the joy of rain. And so as a result, I spoke about that at the Irish Biz Conference back in April. And, one girl, Kat Hogan, she always tweets me, when it was raining, and, she says, I'm thinking of you. And she'll send a YouTube video. I'm singing in the rain, Frank Sinatra. And it is, it's, why can't we be singing and dancing in the rain? Why do we have to get, we choose to be glum about the rain? Come on, we're better than that.
There's plenty of people that would love a bit of rain. Yeah. And thanks, Carol. Matt is asking, absolutely, trying to explain that to someone else, though, makes them feel like you're patronizing them. Yeah, no, absolutely. Matt, have you any thoughts on that? Because you're very quiet there.
So let me see, because I was up there. So it says,
I was explaining that we all have a choice, and to
someone else, though, makes them feel like you're patronizing. Yeah, number one, Matt, our friend Matt Scandal, just joined. He just joined, so he missed everything that we've been talking about before. So he just joined at the last moment. So anybody would think, well, yeah, I don't know, yeah. But anyway, to just give a little bit of an idea to expand on the key organizing principle that Carol already put out quite brilliantly, the operational system pillar which is simply that no one can make you feel anything without your consent. Powerful. No one can make us feel anything without our consent. If we feel anything, it's because we have sold to ourselves whatever somebody else is telling us. So it's not so much what somebody else is telling us, it's what we are telling ourselves that really makes us feel anything. So it's always something, and we can do a lot about what we tell ourselves. And like you're saying, when you're saying, you just example, John makes me feel angry. No, that's not true. It's what? It's my own interpretations. It's my own judgments. It's my own perceptions. It's my own meanings that I make up in my mind about what somebody, in this case, John, is saying that makes me feel XYZ. And since it's not what somebody says, but what I tell myself, what I make up, what I create in my mind, the judgment, the attitude that I form, it's what's really making us feel anything feel. And we can do a lot about that, because maybe you're not going to be able to do much about John. We may not be able to change John, and we don't even have to, because it's not his fault. Maybe John was having a bad day. Maybe John was in fear, so he lashed out. Very often, that's what people actually do, and we take it personally instead of actually realizing, like the Course in Miracle teaches, beautiful book, beautiful work by shared around the world by Marianne Williamson, which is all communication basically is either a cry for help or an expression of love. Either the person is screaming, help, 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 and when somebody is lashing out, is being quote unquote offensive, or he's speaking without grace or kindness, is usually crying out for help. We don't recognize their cry for help. That's when they really need our love. Like Mother Teresa would say. That's when they really need a hug, a big old hug. Instead, how do we respond? Instead of recognizing that as a cry for help, we're responding with our own cry for help as well. And that's the way that's gonna get us into trouble. If we organize that, instead, what do we say? We tell ourselves, I wonder what happened to this person that is making them act or communicate or treat people like that. Totally different perspective, totally different emotion that come up to us, and now we really want to be of support, of assistance, of help for them. Love is always the answer.
I think that's brilliant, Matt. Thank you. And actually, Matt is saying my partner misinterprets what I'm trying to achieve when I'm explaining to her why she's feeling the way she is and lashes out. I think I was talking about this earlier, and if I may, I was being asked how to build better connection with people. And I think it's very important. Let me give you an example. Okay. We naturally do it all the time. Now, Matt, you probably are not a mother, but maybe you're a father, I don't know, or maybe you've been a mother at some point. But what I'm going to explain is, have you ever seen a mum with her baby, and her baby starts to cry, and the baby is crying a lot, and the mother picks up the baby? Oh, you're a father of two. Okay, perfect, great. Okay, so the mother picks up the baby and she starts rocking the baby quite fast and quite hard, and she's jigging up and down, right, and patting it on the back because the baby's crying very, very, excitedly. And as the baby starts to calm down, she'll calm down with it, right? Now, so Matt and I know that as pacing and leading, right? But that's an instinctual thing that any parent will do naturally and instinctually. Like, so it's not something that we learn to do. It's something that we naturally do to bring somebody down to a more calm state, because we know to start at the same level of emotion that the other person is out. So if you're trying to connect, for example, with your partner, instead of Yeah, it would come out. It would come across as patronizing if your partner's feeling emotional, whatever, and you're explaining to her why she's feeling that way in a calm tone. It's probably going to come across as patronizing, right? So she's going to say to you, "That's patronizing to me," or whatever. But if you pace and lead her in a natural way and connect with her and build rapport with her, so if she's talking to you, in a very big tone, for example, quietly, and she's got her head down and she's saying, "I'm feeling very depressed, I'm feeling very down," or whatever, and you're jumping around happily and saying, "Oh, don't be worried about it, and it's fine," and making it come across as flippant, then it's going to come across as patronizing and as if you're not taking her emotions seriously, right? Because the first thing that we want to feel is that we've been heard and that we've been understood and that our feelings matter, that they count, that they've been acknowledged. Whether they're right or wrong, whether we think that they're justified or not, whether we think that they could be improved on or not, we still want to feel a connection. We still want to feel heard and that our feelings matter, that they're there. Okay, so that's the most important thing first, is to make your partner feel a connection with you, and then from there, then she can kind of go, "Oh, now I feel heard. Now I feel heard." Mm-hmm. And then from there, maybe you can have a more rational conversation. So you're pacing and leading like a mother or a father, calming their child and bringing them down naturally. We do the same thing in a relationship. You do it in business. You do it in your friendship. In any aspect of your life, it's about pacing and leading somebody. And it's not a controversial thing. It's not a manipulative thing. It's a natural thing that we do it every day without even realizing we're doing it all the time with our friends. Watch two friends in rapport, yeah? They're sitting the same way. Watch a couple in love. They're sitting the same way, looking to each other's eyes. We do it all the time, right, Matt? So if that answers your question a little bit about how I would suggest, if you're having if you're trying to explain something to somebody and, you're saying that your girlfriend lashes out, if you're explaining to her why she's feeling that way, she doesn't want you necessarily to tell her why you're feeling that way. She probably wants you to just acknowledge it, first of all, and just so that she feels heard. Okay. And then once she feels heard, maybe then there'll be more of an open communication going forward, because everybody communicates in a different way. Everybody communicates in a different way. Like, I've used this example many times that we know that some of us are more visual, some of us are more emotional, that we feel things more, we're more tactile, some of us are more auditory, right? So we use our words to describe sound more. So for example, if I'm talking to my partner and I'm saying all the time, okay, I left the trash outside, and he's visual, he won't hear me unless he sees the trash outside, for example. Or if I'm talking to somebody, for example, there was a guy that I used to think was really rude to me, and until I learned all this stuff, because he'd never look at me. When I was talking to him, he never looked me in the eye. And then I realized, okay, one day after I learned all this, I realized, okay, but he's very auditory. In other words, that he communicates through sound mostly. So he was pointing his ear towards me. So he wasn't actually being rude. I always thought he was rude, but he wasn't being rude. He was just actually being attentive. He was actually paying deep attention to me. And after all those years, I realized there was nothing wrong with this problem with me. It's just that I didn't view the world in the same way as him. So it's about learning how to communicate with the person. And it starts back to what we were saying about mindfulness and what Carol was saying about being mindful. It relates to that as well, about being aware and putting the attention and the focus on the other person and learning how they communicate, how they see the world, what model of the world are they looking at the world through, and then learning a little bit more about your partner so that you can actually communicate with her better. I'm reading your question here. I'm a very laid back person. I think it frustrates us. Sometimes I believe she's looking for a fight. Maybe, Matt, do you want to answer that? What would you suggest that he does?
To Matt Scandal. To Matt Scandal. Right? Says, I'm very laid back person, and I think it frustrates her. Sometimes I believe she's looking for a fight.
What would you suggest that Matt does to improve his relationship with her?
Right. Well, number one, relating to others is easier than relating to our partner in our relationship, in order to, if we're looking to have a long-term, extraordinary, fabulous relationship. it's going to be a challenge. So we're going to start with that in mind. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be a challenging endeavor. How do I know? Well, you know, we see the statistics. Over 50% of all marriages end up in divorce within the first 4 years. Over 50%. That doesn't mean that the remaining 50% are the successful relationships, the happy ones. Oh, no, no, no. Probably those are even actually worse off than the others. Why? Because maybe those are in fear. They're repressing themselves. They're fearful, actually exercising courage and doing and deciding to do what they need to do. And so that's just a premise to say it's not easy, and we want to be real. Number one, we want to be real. All these techniques and strategies are great if we actually ingrain them, if we make them our own, we own them, and we apply them in general. And of course, you know, we can also apply them with our, you know, close friends and relationships, but we want to be real at the same time. We own an approach, we own an attitude, but it has to be real. Otherwise, people will smell it. And we say as a jargon expression in the NLP, we say it smells of NLP. And if people can smell it, then it's going to backlash and cause the opposite effect of what you're trying to create, for sure.
Actually,
and I know that for experience.
Sorry, Carol, were you going to say something, Carol?
Yeah, can I just throw in my penny's worth?
Yeah.
Positive reinforcement. You know, all I can just say is, you know, when you're listening to your girlfriend, and if she's saying, oh, I can't do this, but you say, yeah, you can, and relate it to an example, you know, just be that positive reinforcer, you know, compliment her on her strengths. You know, if she's always lashing out, saying that this doesn't work because I'm this or that or whatever, you know, just say, no, actually, do you remember that time we did this and you were so happy? I don't know the exact circumstances, but like positive reinforcement helps that person to break out of the negative rut, you know, because we, like I spoke about earlier, is that we have this little inner saboteurs going on in our head, and we say, oh, we can't, we're stupid, or we can be really negative and critical of ourselves. And if she's lashing out, she's being very negative about herself, and you know what, you could help her probably by talking about some of her positives.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with what Carol's saying. And sometimes it's very hard to help the people that we're closest to. And the best way to show your positive reinforcement is through your actions and through your words and through how you express yourself. So what Carol is saying is perfectly correct. What she's saying about maybe, you know, saying to her things such as, how do you know you can't do it? Because create doubt in her mind, because for her to change her state, the first thing, it's like a wave. You want to bring her through a different state. She's not going to go from feeling really bad to feeling, oh, you know, absolutely, I can do this in 1 second, because all her emotions are there. So imagine them like a wave. So imagine she's feeling bad, and now you're going to bring her out of that state. So you're going to put doubt into the equation. So instead of her being 100% sure that she's saying, I know I can't, but that's not a logical answer. Then what you could do is give her more indirect examples of how she does well in things. So maybe not so obvious, do more subliminal when she's feeling good. Not when she's actually saying she's feeling bad. Not when she's actually saying she can't do something. When she's in a good state, then reinforce that good state and say, oh, you know, remember the time that you did X, Y, or Z, and get her feeling really, really good about it then. Because, yeah, like what you're saying is, when you're close to somebody, I understand completely, when you're close to somebody and you're saying to them, oh, you know you can, and how do you know you can't? They just give these silly answers back, and they say, oh, yeah, because I can't. And you can't talk to them in a rational way like you can if you have a client or a friend sitting in front of you, you know, where you can actually create that doubt. It doesn't work quite the same way. What do you think, Matt? You know, it's not quite the same thing.
I'm reading what it says here. Try telling her that without getting a phone. That guy is a comedian. I mean, that's incredible. Well, yeah.
Welcome to come on, Matt, if you want to join us And we can talk to you directly if you like, if you wanted, and you can ask us the questions directly if you want. It's up to yourself. But sorry, go on, Matt.
Can I just also?
Yes, that's right. Even like one of the greatest spiritual guides, spiritual leaders ever, like Gandhi, has a disastrous family set of relationships. His family was a disaster. The relationship with his wife, the relationship with his children, and he was changing the world, but not in general. He was literally changing the world. So, there's hope, in other words.
Can I just add my hands word too, just from my own personal experience? Like, sometimes, like, I can lack confidence in something, and I kind of, that negativity can creep into my mind for a little while, and then I can get very upset about it, and then people say, oh, you'll be fine, you've done this, grand, you'll be grand, you got through this, you got through X, Y, Z, you'll get through this. And you know what, that's something that never helps me. And so all I would say to you as well is like, just don't paper over, don't just sweep it under the carpet, don't say, you'll be fine, do you remember last year, you got through that, you're going to be grand this time. But a cup can only have so many cracks before it completely breaks. And this is where, sometimes a lot of people, to be honest, it's very good that your girlfriend is lashing out. It's very good that she's expressing herself, because it's sometimes I'll hands up, I've done it. I put up a mask and I'm smiling all the time, no matter how painful something is for me, and I'm inwardly upset. And then when I actually express that I'm upset, people say, oh gosh, you'll be fine. Let's stick the kettle on, we'll have a cup of tea. You know what? That doesn't help whatsoever. All I would say is, it's just show that you're listening. And as Danielle says, when she's in a positive frame of mind, just reinforce the positives. But the positive of the fact that she's expressing herself is very good. She's not wearing a mask. She's not wearing the smile. She's not hiding it. So, think of it that it is a good thing, because if she's very quiet and not expressing it, then she's obviously in a very lonely space. And I'm saying that because I've been there. I've been in these lonely spaces many times. And so it's great that she's expressing it. It's upsetting you, I know, but, at least she's expressing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do agree.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Maybe, I would like to also add something regarding relationships in general. And usually I share tips or techniques or solutions that are valuable, and I'm actually, can share them right immediately after. But also we have to realize the challenge that we have is big. It's a big challenge right now around the world. The challenge of relationships, of romantic relationships, is huge. Everybody is raising their standards, not for themselves, but for how their partner should be, what they should do, how they should behave. And we also expect them to be mind readers and know exactly what we need and what we mean and all these things, but especially the expectations that we have and the lack of patience, the lack of tolerance. It is apparent, obvious everywhere. And then, I can also share lots of techniques. Yes, heart-to-heart communication, being sincere, being straightforward and opening up and trying to renew the relationship all the time, adding more variety. Otherwise, when the situation is too predictable, that's when people lash out, if nothing else, just to create some change, just to create some novelty, some variety, because lack of variety drives people insane. And they would even be happy to pick up a fight just to make and scramble the situation a little bit. if things start becoming too samey, too predictable.
Yes. Yeah. No, I'm reading here. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, all really good advice. And I'm reading here in the different comments. Thanks, Mary. I'm sorry, I don't know why you can't join for some reason, but yeah, she's putting in her little advice there. Just remember, Matt, there are some things you can't fix, and she needs to know supportive, but still allow her the responsibility for her emotions. Yeah, absolutely. And as we've all kind of reiterated, is acknowledge her feelings. Yeah, don't belittle them. Don't make her feel that you're brushing under the carpet or making it seem less important, which I'm sure you're not, because you're saying you're helping her a lot. And yeah, just be there for her. But if you want to create change, do it when she's feeling good, rather than when she's feeling bad. Do those little things, give her the positive reinforcement, tell her how great she is or whatever. Use genuine compliments. Think of things that have actually happened in her past that she can actually remember back and feel that she succeeded in, that she was successful in, that she had made a difference in, and use those examples. Bring them up at the good times.
And intimacy is huge. Intimacy after we've been coaching so many relationships with Tony Robbins around the world at the extraordinary relationship seminars. We found that the relationships end not because of lack of love, but because of lack of intimacy. Now they've been together for 10 years. How are things as far as polarity, as far as passion, because it's easy to stay together even with a good level of love, but if there's no passion, we are not going to have a really fulfilling, satisfying, magnificent relationship. And all these situations obviously crop up because it is within the female energy, feminine energy, intrinsic within the nature of female energy to always challenge male energy. So according to, we also have to see these energies as well. Whether, Matt is male energy, high male energy, and his partner is very high female energy. These dynamics are very important as well to look at in order to create the right polarity, the right passion.
Okay, listen, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to say goodbye and, go and spend some time with my baby because she's going to bed now. And she has free run of the house downstairs, so I need to go down. So, listen, thank you so much. It's been a lovely evening with you. And I look forward to keeping in touch with you over the Twitter. And it's lovely to meet you all. Thank you, Danielle. Buonanotte.
Buonanotte, Bella. Thank you, Carol. She's super well. Okay. Sure, everybody connects with Carol right now and goes and does a selfie saying, "I'm not invisible," now over on Twitter, and put it up there and support her with her wonderful campaign.
Yeah, I'll actually make a tweet now with the Facebook page, and then you can get in touch with me that way as well. Okay.
She's a superwoman, so please.
You are an amazing inspiration,
thank you
Carol.
very much. Yeah. Thank you. I like to do my best.
Bye, beautiful.
All right. Good night. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. So if anybody wants to join us, you're more than welcome. Donal, did you want to have a go to join us? Donal was trying earlier on. If you want to join us, or Justin, if you'd like to come back on, you're more than welcome. Or anybody else. Mary, I don't know what the problem is, why you can't join us. But anyway, Matt, I hope you enjoyed that. Matt?
Yeah, that was good. I think so. I think, we shared some useful distinctions, insights.
Yeah, we were talking to Matt there about his relationship. If anybody else has any questions in particular, please ask. But we're talking about how to change your mindset and maybe how to help change somebody else's mindset. So my advice is again, by example. Really, that would be my best advice. If it's somebody close to you, the only way really I believe to change them is by changing your language, changing your actions, changing your patterns, and leading them through change that way. What would you suggest, Matt?
In order to change somebody else, in order to effect and create change in somebody else, was that?
Yes.
Is that what you were?
Yes. I mean, I when I came back, I remember from Yes, Miss Serpico. Thank you, Mary. When I came back from my first NLP course, I decided I wanted to get, for example, I wanted my mother to stop smoking. For example,
I see.
And
right. Okay.
you know, she smoked all her life, and she just found out that she had a very big cancer scare, and luckily now since it's been okay, but and she didn't stop. She said she was going to stop, and she still didn't stop, right? And I knew that if I tried the conventional way, as if I was going to do it one-to-one with her, it wouldn't work. So I had to do it subliminally. I had to do it unconsciously. So I did it by imitating what Richard Bandler did, you know, who taught me. I did it by telling her stories, okay, and about other people. Now, not even about smoking, because that would have been too obvious, because I knew if I did that, she would have been consciously aware of it, and she would have repelled it, because she was all against giving up smoking, and she knew that I was trying to get her to give up, so she would have been very negative towards it. So I didn't even tell stories about giving up smoking, but I told her stories, lots of, very subtly, about different. I said, oh, my friend, you know, wanted to do this, and she, you know, she had to have the willpower to do this, and blah blah blah, and she was looking after her health, and she did X, Y, and Z. And sure enough, now it took me about 6 months. My mum has smoked for about 50 years. She doesn't smoke anymore. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
it was a very subtle approach, because I believed that I knew that it wouldn't work if I did it directly. I knew that she was too anti that, you know, and she didn't, you know, we were too close. So I believe that that is the way to make change to someone that you're very close to. So that would be my advice, anyhow, is to tell it through stories, through metaphors, through your actions, through your words, through your behavior. And if it's somebody close to you, I think that's the best way to do it.
I couldn't agree with you more than now. I could not agree with you more, because I can only paraphrase Einstein's quote, and Einstein's quote is example is not just the best way to teach and influence.
Sorry, Matt,
others.
Just for a second. There's an echo, I'm being told. There's an echo for Matt, is it? Matt is telling me there's an echo for Matt. Maybe go off for 1 second and come back in. I'm just going to click you out and come straight back in. And if anybody else wants to join, please do so. I'll try Mary again. I'm trying you again, Mary. So, okay, now let's see if there's an echo.
Okay. Yeah, there's a great quote by Einstein's quote is, example is not just the best way to teach and influence others, it's the only way. There's a great parable. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, yeah.
There's a great parable also by Gandhi, who one day there's this woman who brings she crosses mountains and travels for 3 days and 3 nights, and finally arrives to Gandhi and asks Gandhi, I have this son with, you know, she brings her son, this son that keeps eating a lot of sugar, but I know that if you tell him to stop eating sugar, he will stop, because he has a great respect, great admiration, great respect for you. And you know what he says? Gandhi says, well, then come back in 3 weeks. And the woman, she goes, 3 weeks? It took us 3 days to come over here. We had to travel 3 days and night. And he answers simply, come back in 3 weeks. Very upset. This woman leaves with her boy and forgets about it. But, you know, 1 week goes by, 2 weeks go by, 3 weeks go by, and her son is still eating sugar. So, well, she said, you know, 3 weeks have gone by. Let's go back to Gandhi. So they traveled back again to Gandhi. 2, 3 days of travel across the mountain, 3 days and night, and she comes back. She's right there with Gandhi, and she says, Gandhi, do you remember me? I was here. We were here 3 weeks ago. And he immediately stops her and says, I remember. You know, my son was, I remember. So he turns to her boy, her son, and he simply tells him, stop eating sugar. Very strong, with congruency and total conviction, with total congruency. This woman now, you know, and the boy is really totally taken, completely transfixed, penetrated his soul and his psychology. You mean that you see that he got it, and he did, from this day forward, he will never eat sugar again. But this woman, she's now pissed off because she turns to Gandhi and she says, Gandhi, why didn't you tell him 3 weeks ago instead of having us travel all again for 3 days and 3 nights? You could have just told him 3 weeks ago when we were here. And Gandhi answers, well, the reason why I didn't tell him 3 weeks ago is because 3 weeks ago I was eating sugar.
Okay, I get it. Yeah, very good. I get the meaning in it.
It's about being the example. You cannot be the example. You cannot say that you are doing something, but it's not true. You got to be congruent. You got to be, since you have to have integrity, coherence, and it comes through. Coherence is what you know internally, but congruency is how you come across, and people will feel it, you know, by your physiology, your voice tone, your face.
I'm losing you a bit, Matt.
Whether you are living the message
Matt,
that you're teaching people or not.
Matt,
so
sorry, Matt. I'm going to get him back now. I've lost him there, so I'll get him back now in a second. Matt, you'll have to come back on. I'm sorry, your internet is terrible, but he's back. Mary, I think what you have to do is you have to go out and come back in under Chrome, I think. But yeah, so basically,
and then other things, you know, of course, that's the great path. And then on a day-to-day basis, we don't want to go around telling people all the time, like beating them like their heart on these messages on them about you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, don't do this, don't do that, or do this, eat this, eat that. People don't want to be told what to do.
No,
they don't want. You know, that's how humans are. We don't want to be, but we want to have the perception that it is our decision, our idea, and it's our baby, our solution, our great answer that, you know, we just came up with. But of course, the subtlety is that you have instigated these to happen, this awareness, by you being the example, you feeling great, you feeling healthy, energized, vital, you drinking the right good things like pure water, eating the good vegetables, and doing it not because you're trying to show off or you are bragging about, oh, I'm having all these vegetables and I'm gonna live to 100 years. No, not like that. You gotta be ironically selfish, really enjoying the process of what you're doing, and people will be captivated, will be caught, will be enticed. Yeah. And when they will start, will be, you know, something that is instigated, and they start seeing you with all this energy, having so much fun, having a blast. Your experience of life is so joyful and alive, an example of aliveness, and that's what is really gonna catch them, and they're gonna go.
Sorry,
I don't know what
I'm losing you a little bit there, but I think your internet is freezing a little bit. But okay, I think we're going to nearly finish up soon in a minute. But Matt is saying there he's going to go. Just actually reminds me just before you go of Wayne Denner, who just passed away. He had a quote there. You probably heard this, Matt, before as well. It was a great quote.
A week ago, more than a week ago.
Yeah, exactly. He had a great quote, and just for you before you go, Matt, which was he was giving an example. He asked a little boy in the audience one day when he was giving a speech. Wayne Denner is a very big, you know, self-defense, positive development guru, we could call him. And he said, basically, he asked his little boy, "What's this in my hand?" And it was an orange. And the boy said, "It's an orange." And he said, okay, if I squeeze it, what's going to come out? And he said, well, orange juice. And he goes, are you sure? Oh yeah, obviously orange juice, right? So the little boy was kind of getting annoyed and kind of saying, well, yeah, orange juice, of course. And he's saying, well, what if we squeeze dew? So basically the metaphor of it is that basically what we have inside of us is what comes out, right? So we transfer what we have inside of us. So Matt, so go and transfer something positive. So do it.
Yeah, to make it, yeah, excellent. To make it more practical, because sometimes people don't catch that metaphor, that parable. To what the parable actually means, signifies, is that when we are under pressure, what comes out is what's inside. Yeah. So if you have love, like you are saying, if you have gratitude or joy or passion, and you squeeze, like, you know, if you squeeze an orange, which is full of orange juice, what you're going to get? You're going to squeeze out orange juice. If you squeeze some more, you get even more orange juice.
So yeah, Matt, thanks for joining us, Matt Scandal. It was great talking to you. I hope to see you again sometime. So it was lovely to connect with you. And we have Helena, who's a wonderful, wonderful lady. Would you like to join us for 2 minutes? Because we're going to probably finish up in a couple of seconds. But if you're welcome to. Oh, here's Helena. She's a wonderful woman. And thanks, Matt. Yeah, absolutely. We'll keep connected, and connect with me on Twitter, and we'll keep in touch. Okay.
Hi,
Helena.
Hi. Nice to meet you at last, Danielle.
I've never actually spoken to you in person.
No, we haven't. We haven't. So it's good to connect, isn't it? I'm loving Blab. Are you?
Fantastic. It really, really is a great platform. So we're all having fun with this. But I'm just going to finish up in a minute, but maybe you can give your little 2 pence, because I know that you're another superwoman who's into all this coaching stuff and positive development. So meet Matt above you. He's another great coach. And Helena, for people that are listening or might hear this another time, because I'm recording this, have you any wonderful tips on health for mind, body, or spirit?
I suppose it's the simple things, really, isn't it? Minding oneself. Really, really, I suppose the idea of sleeping well, eating well, loving well, laughing a lot, being kind to people, and, you know, staying connected is really the thing. And I think finding the things that really make you happy, whether it's, you know, the basic dragging the dogs off for a walk, being dragged off by the dogs, cooking something you enjoy, getting out in the fresh air, getting out in the sunshine, which we had today, which was lovely, wasn't it? And, you know, reading good things, being around, you know, people who are nice and pleasant and helpful. Those kind of things are what really make me tick.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And you specialize kind of more so in ladies for fertility, is that right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I suppose I regard myself as a fertility coach. So people who are going through the emotional roller coaster of infertility, IVF, failed IVFs, miscarriage, and also traumatic birth, because a lot of people suffer in silence with post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms after a rotten birth, which may not seem to have been bad to the carers, but it can be very traumatic and it can linger. So it is.
Maybe you can give us some advice, actually, because I hope I'm not putting words into Matt's Scandal. It's a great profile, Twitter handle. But he was telling us, oh God, the whole world knows now, but his girlfriend may have suffered a little bit with postnatal depression and stuff. So have you any tips for him, for any advice to help her?
I suppose it's understanding that it is real, that it is something that somebody doesn't choose to have. It's very puzzling and perplexing, and it can feel as if it's stealing away those lovely early days of motherhood, when everything seems so overwhelming, when you're out of control and you've been in control of everything throughout your life. So it is about an incredible amount of help, the sort of help that is doing the washing, doing the shopping, doing the cleaning, all of those mechanical things that I train all of the sort of dads to be experts at, so that at least the house is running well, and that anybody who will mind or care for the little baby or, you know, be involved is really important. To have relatives around, to have neighbours and friends around, but not to get exhausted or tired, because physically you do have to recover from having a baby. I think an awful lot of people really try to get back into the size 10 jeans and be the perfect mom. And certainly I know that people who have waited for a long time to have a baby, they feel that they must be grateful at every moment. You know, sort of, even if they've been up all night with a spitting, phlegmy baby, that they have to be sort of super mom. And it's like, no. You can stay in your pajamas. You can feel shitty. Not every day is a happy, clappy, brilliant day. And, you're not a failure because of that. So it's about having realistic expectations as well. And I think encouraging a new mum that, something, her body has done something fantastic. She may not be feeling like a sexual goddess. She may not be remotely interested in sex, but then there's always Astroglide. Sorry, that's a plug for very sweet people who are always retweeting left, right, and centre. And
brilliant.
I haven't slipped in to visit Maya. I was over there doing a Blab, a fertility Blab tonight. And I had a technical glitch and I had to start again and I lost everybody. But anyway, the thing is that new moms need a lot of support, a lot of help. They're exhausted, they're shattered. They should be in a clinic in Switzerland for about 6 weeks afterwards, being pampered, being minded, going skiing, having fun and loving food. The reality is they don't. So anything that can help them. And just to realize that, a new mom feels that she must give everything to her baby. It's really hard to multitask and be sort of, the partner, the girlfriend, the lover. It just needs time to adjust. It doesn't happen overnight. And dads can feel a bit sidelined too. So that's why they say it takes a whole village to raise a child. We don't do that so terribly well now, do we?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you, Helena. That's great advice. So I think, we're kind of going to finish up, I think, now. Anyhow, we've been on here for, I think, nearly 2 hours. So
really?
Yeah, it's time to go. But we'll do another one. And it was our first Blab.
Oh, and thank you for having me on. This is a great pleasure. How lovely to meet you here.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to finally meet you, actually. Yeah, we've been kind of interacting, but never actually met. I've heard so much about you. So, yeah, all that stuff. We'll definitely keep in touch.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So for anybody else that might watch this or whatever, so I suppose my final words would be for your own health. I mean, I went through so many changes, and once I became aware of my inner mind, once I became aware of my mind and became conscious of my consciousness, everything changed. It was like a light bulb moment. It was like suddenly I'd been seeing things through blinkers, and then suddenly like my whole vision had expanded, that I was aware of my awareness. So I was able to, like Carol was saying earlier, I was able to consciously make different choices about the stories that I told myself. So I started challenging my stories, started saying to myself and challenging and questioning my beliefs and saying, okay, how do I know for certain this is true? And creating doubt in my mind. And once I created doubt in my mind, I created hope in my mind. And once I created hope in my mind, I created a more positive state. I was more motivated. I was more inspired to go and do something. And once I did that, I would take action. So it created a difference in my life to make me be more in control and happier much more often than I used to be. So that would be my final thoughts, would be for anybody who is struggling, would be to question your thoughts and remember that they're just thoughts, that they don't necessarily have to be true. What about yourself, Matt? Anything to say?
Well, just placing extra emphasis and maybe adding emphasis to one idea, so that whoever is left online, maybe they can just put their mind and focus on just one idea, which is simply that if you love what you're doing, you're good. You'll be all right.
I love that.
You're on the right track.
Keep doing what you love. Find your purpose, find your passion, find your will to meaning, as Viktor Frankl says, and you'll be all right. And
keep good care of yourself, excellent care of yourself, love yourself a lot.
Yeah. And if you need any help, come and get in touch with myself. I'm Danielle Serpico, or obviously Matt, or this wonderful woman underneath, Helena, or Justin, who was on earlier. I think it's still listening in. Justin's a great guy, super friend of mine, and there's so many other people. Carol Brill, who was on earlier, Samantha Kelly, everybody else, Greffney, who was on earlier. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed, and please keep in touch. And thanks, Helena. Thanks for coming on, and thanks, Justin.
Thanks for
the support. I see Mary Dre has been very supportive, and everybody else who's listening. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, just ask. Thank you, Justin, and please ask. Okay, we'll be in touch. So bye, everybody.
All the best.
Good night.
Cheers.
Bye, Helena.
Bye, Danielle.
Nice meeting you.
Bye, Matt.
Okay.